Hey guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming another "if you like this book, then you will also like this book" tag recommendation video thing. I have done this video 3 times before, so I'll be putting links in the descriptions for videos 1, 2, and 3 of this kind of video that I've done before, but this is one of my favorite recommendation videos to do because I feel like we're always looking to read things that are similar to things that we've previously loved, and I just think that this is a really great way to discover new books to read. Also, I just wanted to say thank you so much for 14,000 subscribers. I cannot even fathom that number in my mind. Like, holy shit. It's like my subscriber count is going up so rapidly quickly. I'm just like so fucking blown away and like, thank you. Right, so without further ado, let's just jump into this list. So the first one is going to be if you liked The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo, then I think you would also like One Day in December by Josie Silver. These books are both romance novels that span over a period of about 10 years or more. They actually both feature some really powerful love triangles that made me freaking cry. I will say though, The Light We Lost is definitely a lot more emotional and serious of a book, while One Day in December is a little bit more like lighthearted and kind of cheesy and like a cute, like this one feels more cute rom-com movie, and this one feels more like romance drama sad-ish movie. Definitely both do feature some really great love triangles where you're like rooting for both sides and you're not really sure what you're rooting for. I just really enjoy romances that span over a period of like 10 years. Like, I don't know what it is about them, but I just like think they're really fascinating. Like, the next one I have for you is if you liked Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, I think you would also like This Is How It Always Is by Laurie Frankel, and vice versa, mainly because I feel like these books talk a lot about parenthood. These books are both adult contemporary fiction type stories. This one actually takes place in the 90s, I believe, and then this one takes place in like a present day, but this one deals with this very controversial adoption of this Asian baby. They're debating whether the baby should return to its mother who had originally abandoned it, or if it should stay with this couple that adopted it. And then in this book, we're talking about these parents who are learning how to raise their son who wants to be a girl. These two books deal a lot with like parenthood and like the decisions you have to make sometimes as a parent for your child. This one in particular actually deals with motherhood a lot more specifically, and then this book is just talking about parenting in general and how difficult it can be. But I do think these are both really powerful family stories, especially if you're a parent. I think you would enjoy either one of these. And I will say too that the writing in both of these books feels a lot like literary fiction to me. Like, it's just, they're very gorgeously written. The next one I have for you is if you liked The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, I think you would also like No Exit by Taylor Adams, only because these are two of my favorite adult thrillers / horror novels of all time, and these books gave me the most feeling of anxiety and isolation and just like doomsday feeling ever. Like, The Cabin at the End of the World follows this gay couple, Eric and Andrew, and their adopted daughter, Wen, and they're going to stay at their cabin. While they're at their cabin, these 4 people home invade their cabin and tell them that the world is coming to an end and that they need their help in order to prevent the end of the world. So this entire book feels like a home invasion story. It's very isolated and it's like high anxiety because their lives are at stake this entire book, and it's so fucking terrifying. In No Exit, it takes place in a Colorado snowstorm when this girl gets stuck at this rest stop, and then she sees in the van, in the parking lot, in the back of the van, there's a crate with a child in it, and so she knows that one of these 4 people that she's stuck with at the rest stop is a child abductor, and she is trying to figure out who she can trust and how she can help this little girl. It all takes place at this rest stop during the snowstorm, so it's very isolated and like, you're doomed. And just both of these books have this feeling of like such high anxiety when I read this, like, oh my gosh, but they're some of the best like thrillers that I've ever read because of it. Alright, my next one is if you liked Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, I think you would also like The Lies We Told by Camila Way, not because they both have the word lie in the title. They're just thrillers with very similar vibes in my opinion, and they both have these like flashback chapters and then present chapters, and you're trying to figure out how the two connect, and they just both have some really good twists, and they're both some of my favorite thrillers. of all time, and they're just both really great, and I feel like if you haven't read one, you should definitely read the other. So my next one is going to be, if you like the book Sadie by Courtney Summers, I think you would also like The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. These are both young adult contemporary novels that have like thriller vibes to them. They're actually both about these sisters whose sisters have been murdered, and they're about the sister going after her sister's killer. Like, both of these books are like the same plot, kind of. And in Sadie, it's like her younger sister was killed, and so now she's like going out to find her sister's killer, and she like plans on killing him. And then in The Female of the Species, it's the same concept, but it's her older sister who had died, and she's going out to find the guy who murdered her sister, and she plans on killing him. But in The Female of the Species, it's a little bit different because this main character is like a wannabe serial killer. Like, she's kind of like Dexter, and she like has this urge to kill, and so when her sister gets murdered, it like gives her the fuel to go out and actually like kill people. I personally enjoyed The Female of the Species a lot more. I didn't enjoy Sadie so much just because I found Sadie to be kind of like slow and a lot more boring, but I know that that's a super unpopular opinion because everybody freaking loves Sadie, and apparently I've heard that the audiobook for Sadie is fantastic because it features like a podcast or something along those lines. But yeah, I think if you liked one, you would probably like the other just because they have this similar like bad bitch gonna go kill my sister's killer vibes. The next one I have is gonna be, if you liked This Is How It Always Is, yes, I'm whipping this book out again, then I think you would also like Birthday by Meredith Russo. This one is an ARC, by the way. This one doesn't go on sale till May 21st. These books both feature powerful trans stories. This one is more like the adult story of it, but it follows a child who knows that they want to be trans. And then in this book, the main character is a trans character. And so I do think that if you enjoyed the story of like the difficulties and the struggles that go with being trans and transitioning into a gender, then I think you would really enjoy either one of these stories. And I think that both of these stories are really powerful stuff, and both 5-star reads for me. Both made me cry my eyes out. Like, really, really beautiful, amazing, heartfelt stories. So I definitely think if you like one, you would like the other. Next one I have for you is, if you liked The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, I think you would also like The Unnie Mooners by Christina Lauren. And this one is also an ARC, by the way. This one goes on sale, I think, May 14th. These are both new adult romance. They're both hate to love romance. This one follows Josh and Lucy in their office. They both work for a book publisher, and they're competing for the same promotion. They're trying to become each other's bosses, basically. And then in this one, it follows this girl named Olive, who her twin sister Amy is getting married to this guy Dane, and then Dane's brother Ethan is like this guy that she cannot stand. It's like they hate each other. Everyone at their wedding gets food poisoning, so they can't go on their honeymoon, so they offer the honeymoon to Olive and Ethan, their siblings, and then they have to pretend to be a married couple on this honeymoon so that they don't get caught like abusing the giveaway of the honeymoon, whatever situation. Oh my gosh, you guys, these books are like similar because they have this like hate to love bantery romance that I just absolutely love. Like, it's literally one of my favorite tropes. Like, I don't even know why, but like, I love a good hate to love romance, and these are my two all-time favorite hate to love romances up until this point. Love Olive so much, like just as much as I love Lucy in this book. Like, they are just so cute, and like, ugh, they're like the most adorable female protagonists. And then don't even get me started on Ethan. Like, Ethan is like my new fictional crush. Like, I just love him so much. Like, he's so soft and sweet and just like, oh my gosh. The next one I have for you is, if you liked Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, I think you would also like The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. This one is more like historical fiction, and this one is more like contemporary women's fiction. But the main reason I think that these are so similar is because they both talk a lot about fate and coincidence, and if things are just supposed to happen to us, or if we get to choose our own destiny. Because this book follows this girl. She's at this party one night, and she gets the decision to either go back home with her first love who's at this party, or just go home with her friends. And then in this book, we follow both of those decisions simultaneously in alternate universes, and we get to see how her life would be different based off of this one decision. And then in The Immortalist, it follows these 4 siblings who go to this psychic when they're really little kids that tells them the day that they're gonna die. And then we follow them throughout the rest of their lives and like see if that affects their lives, like, or if it's true. And both of these books deal a lot with this idea of like fate and whether or not we have any control over our lives, or if things are just supposed to happen to us that we can't really control. Oh my gosh, both of these books are so fucking great and stunning, and I do think maybe in another life is a little bit more my fave over The Immortalist, because I didn't super connect with the characters in this one, but I just really loved the discussion in this one, which is why I loved it so much. But like, both of these books are flippin' fantastic and very thought-provoking. The next one I have for you is if you liked The Secret History by Donna Tartt, I think you would also like If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. The main reason for these is because they have very, very similar plots and feels and moods. Both of these stories follow a very prestigious, snobby group of friends in college. In this book, they're studying Greek, and then in If We Were Villains, they're studying Shakespeare, and they're like a part of a play and drama club. Both of these books follow these snobby groups of friends, and one of them is murdered, and you find out right away in the beginning which one of the friends is murdered in both books, and then you spend the rest of the book trying to figure out what led to that person's death. They both also just have these really dark, moody vibes, like, they're so atmospheric. This one, The Secret History, is more literary fiction. Like, this book is over 500 pages, and it's written a lot more gorgeously, I would say. But If We Were Villains just has this really dark, moody, like, haunting vibe. Like, but they're both just such chilling stories, and they're so unique. And just, I personally liked If We Were Villains more than The Secret History, which I know is a super unpopular opinion, but I think I ended up giving The Secret History like 3 stars, and then If We Were Villains was like a 4-star for me. Like, I really liked both, but I think If We Were Villains was just a little bit better for me. Alright, and the last one I have for you is if you liked The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, I think you would also like 5 Feet Apart. Both of these books deal with some kind of illness that's eventually gonna kill one of the main characters, and it's like a romance despite doomsday being very close. That sounds so dramatic, like, I'm so sorry. Fault in Our Stars, if you didn't know, deals with 2 young adult characters who have cancer. It's interesting because 5 Feet Apart feels like a more like forbidden romance because she has cystic fibrosis and he has biseparia. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, but he has something that's just a little bit slightly worse than what she has, and they can't stand within 5 feet apart of each other or they risk contaminating each other and infecting each other, and if they infect each other then they're both doomed basically. But these books just both have this feeling of like these young adult characters trying to have a romance even though death is looming, and it's very sad. And like, these both are some of the saddest young adult contemporary novels I've ever read, and they both made me cry. But I will say I did like The Fault in Our Stars better than 5 Feet Apart, just because this book is a lot more gorgeously written, like I will say. Those are all of the books that I think if you liked one book, you would definitely enjoy the other book. I really love doing these kinds of videos. I love finding similarities in books and trying to like find ways to make connections between books. It just really brings out the nerdy side in me, to be honest. I just love it. So let me know what your thoughts are on any of these books, and if you've read any of these books and you agree, like if you would like this book, you would like this book, or let me know if you plan on picking any of these books up because they're similar to books that you previously enjoyed, or if the plot just sounded interesting to you. I would love to know if I encouraged you to read any of these, because, you know, that's why I'm here, right? Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys soon in a new video.